It all started. I arrived home after a long, busy, voluptuous day. And I opened my door to find that the dehumidifier was set on high. She had run for 18 hours, non-stop, using my power. My power bill is going to be through the roof. So that got me into a tizzy. So I figured as a stress reliever, I might take my car for just a little spin. I found the crank, I put it in the front, and I cranked her over and cranked her over and cranked her over, and she just wouldn't start. I took a deep breath again, went into the house and took an Advil. As I was starting to get lightheaded, I went out and I put the crank in the front of her again, and I cranked, and I cranked, and I cranked, and I just couldn't get her going. But anyway, I cranked her for the third time, or maybe the fifth time, I don't quite remember. And I cranked her, and she... And then she started, well, I was fit to be tied. Oh no, that's not a good thing to say. I was ready to go. I was ready to rumble. Just as her little engine was puttering, just like a little Singer sewing machine, after she got over her hiccups. So she was ready to go. Well, I jumped up on between the two wheels, and I started down the road, just down the garden path. Oh, what a glorious... The alder bushes had grown in. I must have to get those mowed at some point, because I had just freshly spent hours waxing her, just so it looks like right from the fresh factory floor. And I don't want those alder bushes rubbing on the edges of her and causing street marks. So I was puddling my way down the garden path out to the highway, Interstate 95. I felt I'd go over to Florida in Fort Lauderdale just for the afternoon. So here I'm puttering away, and I have the music a-blasting. Oh, it was beautiful. I was just having a glorious time. The heat was on high. I had the air conditioning on low. It was just comfortable. So anyway, I'm puttering around on Interstate 95. And all of a sudden I heard, bing, bing, bing. Oh, good Lord, have mercy. What do you suppose that is? I looked down at my dash, and my oil light came on. I thought, my good Lord. I quickly veered over from the third lane to the left, over to the shoulder of the road. I got a few toots and everything, but it was an emergency. I had to get over to the side of the road before my engine went. I was in the middle of nowhere. I was 3 days from home. Well, anyway, I got to the edge of the road, and I shut the engine off as quick as I could. And don't you suppose I figured I needed my oil changed. I didn't know the first thing about where to go, so I unscrewed the transmission fluid first, and there was transmission fluid all over the side of the road. Ah! So anyway, come to find out, I found the oil plug. I think it was the oil plug because it was black, and the oil was just a-flowing. Well, anyway, here I am, shimmied myself up underneath the car, and I didn't know the first thing about repairs. But anyway, I didn't know what to do, so I put the hood up. I put the trunk up in hopes that somebody would come along and help me in this damsel of distress. Well, don't you suppose the first one come along and just tooted as if to say, ah, ha, 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 good for you, foreigner. So anyway, here I am standing here, distressed, I put my leg out as if to say, please help me. So anyway, an old rickety van come along and said, oh, come on in. I've got cookies. Well, I thought, I haven't eaten for 12 hours. I've been on the road for 12 hours, I suppose. Some cookies would be good to eat. So I looked in the van from afar, and I thought, Happy Father's Day. Well, as I got closer to the van, I thought, I'm hungry. My stomach overtook my thought process, and I jumped in with glee. Well, the damn door shut as fast as a jet plane leaving the airport, and I was like, ah! Ah! It made me nervous. And I looked around, and that Happy Father's Day happened to be the ugliest painting I have ever saw. I was nervous. Well, that van shot out of there, screeched on the highway. My goodies and everything are still in my car. I don't know where to go, and I don't know where I am. All I remember is that I'm on Interstate 95 at marker number 1111. The nearest town is New Jersey, and I know the street address, which I'm approximately about 5 miles from the hotel gifter area. And their phone number is 578-220-3821. But that's as far as I can tell you about the whereabouts I am. Oh, GPS markings are like 32 north and 72 south. So, but other than that, I have no idea where I am. So here I am, down in this van, and they start to strap me down, and I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I'm screeching to the tops of my lungs, ah! Help me! Well, they tried to mask me, but they couldn't get my mouth shut. It's just too strong. Well, anyway, all I remember is that they got nervous, shoved me out and opened that van and shoved me out in the gooseberry bushes. And I have prickles of gooseberry spurs in my skin. Well, I took down the license plate of that van. Come to find out it was the president. I was like, oh, I shouldn't have screamed. I could have got a free hotel night at the most ritziest hotel in Las Vegas. Well, anyway, to the happy ending, I was able to find my way back to my old car. I was able to find a quart of oil in the gooseberry bushes, and I filled her up. She only ran out on the bottom, but because I forgot to put the plug in. But I figured that I could be just fine. Well, anyway, I made it about 3-minute drive down the thing and my engine blew. And then the repeat story happened again. A van stopped by. I've got cookies. Come on in, little child. Well, don't you suppose I fell for that damn trick again? And they helped me into the van at this time because I was still in pain from falling out of the van at 1 kilometer an hour down into the gooseberry bushes. I had road rash and everything, but it's a good thing I had my helmet on. I was well protected. Well, anyway, I made it home safe and sound after I had to put a new engine in, which took all of 15 days, but I was home in about 15 minutes. And then I got home and my brakes were rattling within their calipers, and it was... And I got nervous again! So, my next story, I'll tell you all about it, how I got my brakes repaired. But that was my little adventure within the last 5 hours last night, in the wee hours of the morning, of the broad daylight. Till next time.